Hey everybody, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I'm so excited to be here with my very first design team layout for the Cocoa Vanilla Studio design team. And I am using the beautiful Make-A-Wish collection. I have had this for a little bit and I just think it's so beautiful. I've had a hard time using it because I want to use every single piece. And our theme for the next few weeks is love. And so I'm going to scrap this picture of me and my husband. And I like that it's a light, almost like got lots of white and light colors in the picture. And so I think it's going to go really well with this collection. Now what I've done here is I've used some of the Cocoa Vanilla cut files. And this is this really cool XOXO design. And I've resized it, duplicated it, and kind of welded it together to make a big background design of X and O's. So what I'm going to do is back a lot of this open space with some of these papers. Look how pretty these papers are. Every single paper is just gorgeous. I love all the shades of pinks and then the yellows, the turquoise, and it's got the touch of the navy. So many pretty flowers and leaves. I mean, it's just beautiful. And technically it's a birthday collection, but there are a ton of things that make this any type of collection you want, really. It's open-ended. I mean, it's very versatile. So you can see here I'm using it for a love-related layout. So for the big X and O, I'm going to just do one paper behind, and I'm going to do the X with this gorgeous watercolor pink paper. And I think I've only used this for one other layout not too long ago. And I'm trying to hoard it, which is stupid because you know what happens when you hoard everything. You never use it and then you never see it. But then the thing is once you use it, it's gone and that makes you sad. So that's why we hoard it. But I decided to use this for my first layout for the design team just because it's one of my favorites, I think. And I'm still waiting for the new Wild at Heart collection to get to me. So that's probably going to be another one of my favorites once I get it. So this beautiful paper, I love this nice aqua mint tone. It's so light and pretty. And I'm going to put that behind the big O. And so I've got pink and blue to start. Then I'm going to take some time and I'm going to do all different colors behind all the other open areas. It does take me a while and I don't film the entire process because I'm sure you've seen a ton of people back cut files with paper. It gets pretty monotonous after a while, but I enjoy doing it. It's a fun technique to do and I think the end result is always awesome, and you can use tiny bits of paper to do this, so it really doesn't take a lot of paper. It just takes patience and some time to actually cut each piece and decide which piece goes where. Now this floral paper is unbelievably beautiful to me, and I have two sheets of it. One sheet I have not touched yet, so this sheet I'm using, actually I use it quite a bit for this to back behind the letters. So I've got some of it done. There's one of the X's and O's. I worked in some of the navy. I tried to go for almost like a rainbow effect and tried to get all those pretty colors in there. So I'm just going to keep working on the remaining X's and O's and just cut little bits and pieces. Mainly it's the floral paper there just because it's so pretty. And I wanted to leave as many flowers intact as I could because I know I'm going to want to fussy cut those out and use them as actual flowers instead of cut up little bits like I'm doing here. But like I said, this didn't take, you know, big chunks of paper, just took little bits. So I just cut and glue, and keep working until all the spots are filled in. I love the green. The green and the leaves are so pretty. Okay, so I got it finished, and I love how this looks. I love all the different colors. I love that it's bright, yet it's still really soft. I think that's one of my favorite things about Cocoa Vanilla is things are bright, but at the same time, they have this really soft effect. Now, I'm going to do just a little bit of painting on the background here, not a lot, so I'm not going to put any gesso or anything like that on my background because I don't intend on using enough to make it really warp. I'm not going to do a whole lot of blending. I'm just going to do some packaging technique here. And these are from, or these paints are from Shimmers. These are from my stash. And I've just pulled out a mint color, a navy bluish color, a golden yellow, and then a pink. I tried to mix and match to come up with most of the colors that are in the paper. And I'm going to have my photo in the upper right hand area, and so I just want some of the paint peeking out from behind it. And so I keep bringing the picture back in just to make sure you can see things coming out from behind it. And I love how that's looking. That's exactly how I envisioned it in my mind. So that is a good thing because that rarely happens. Okay, so this is a spray from Shimmers. It's called Cotton Candy, and it's a spritz, and it's the perfect match to the pink paper behind the X. So I'm just going to do a little more packaging and keep kind of coming on a diagonal angle here. I just want this to look kind of messy and watercolory behind everything. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. I say this so often. Watercolor, you know, it should look kind of messy and splotchy, and you know, everybody has their own style and everybody has their own look. So you just have to find out what works for you. You may want to use a brush. You may want to use the packaging. It just depends. I like to use a little bit of all of it. It just depends on the layout and the look that I'm going for at the moment. But my favorite is the packaging technique because I always love that random splotchy look that you get. It's hard to get that same effect with a brush. Okay, so now I'm going to start thinking about what I'm going to embellish with, and I'm definitely going to use that beautiful frame. It's chipboard, and it goes from white to pink. I love how that looks, but I didn't want to completely put it right on top of my picture, so I'm going to use it behind my picture as a layer. It's also going to create lots of dimension. And another one of my favorite things about Cocoa Vanilla, especially this collection, are the vellum pieces. Those flowers are so pretty, and they're vellum, and they're just gorgeous. And then you get a lot of the same type of shapes and things in the die cut pack. It's just, I just ooh and ah over all of it every time I look at it. So that's a little bit of tissue paper from my stash. I'm just going to add for a little subtle layer and then try to rebuild what I had just done there. I'm going to use that flare button that says Hello Love, and it's got all the colors in it that are in the XO papers. And I want my picture kind of tilted. I don't want it to be perfectly straight on. I've got the X's and O's perfectly straight, so I wanted a little bit of you know, crooked factor going on. And that's something I like to do a lot, is mix perfectly straight lines with something that's a little bit crooked. So the Hello Love flare is going to go right there to the left, overlapping the photo, and I'm going to create a little nest of tangled thread in that golden yellow color just to kind of go under it, and it's going to add some texture, little pop of color, and just make that flare button stand out a little more since it's white and it's going on top of my husband's shirt, and it's white also, so just kind of helps it stand out a little bit more. I'm going to play around with the sticker sheet and come up with a couple things. I'm going to use that Love This tab at the top and this little label piece here. It's floral, got all the colors in it, but I didn't want to waste the whole thing, so I cut it in half. And I'm going to use the top part or the other piece on the left there. And you're just going to see these little colors peeking out. And, you know, I love using things like labels for something that doesn't need a label. You could always use it for a layering piece. And if you don't want to waste the other half, just cut it in half and it looks like you have two embellishments. So I've got all the ephemera and the vellum dumped out there on the right, and I'm just kind of going through little by little and seeing what I like. And the problem is I like it all. Do you guys have this problem with beautiful collections like this where you just, everything you touch matches and you want to use the entire collection, but you have to pick and choose. You can't use every single thing. I am going to use some of these die cut flowers. I'm going to layer that beautiful yellow and orange one there behind the X with that little pink flower on top, and then this blue arrow. And then that's the chipboard sheet. I'm going to play around with some of that. Again, you can see how there's so many general and versatile things, even though there's a lot of birthday things on this. It's awesome. So I'm going to use a couple of little phrase stickers, best ever and wonderful, or so wonderful. Oh, happy day. I love those little general statements that can go on any type of subject that you're scrapping. Those little vellum hearts are perfect. So in the meantime, I took a break and decided I needed to do some stitching, and I just did a white straight stitch through each XO row. Very simple, very subtle, but you know, in real life, the stitching, it does add a little something extra there. I'm sorry my light got really bright right there. I'm not messing with my light, but sometimes when the sun comes in and out and I'm in front of the camera with different colors, it gets lighter and brighter on its own sometimes. It's like there's a ghost living in my light, and I try to fix it in editing, but sometimes it gets away from me. So I hope that wasn't too bright. So I glued everything down, and to keep it flat, I'm going to stick my water bottle right on top of it for just a minute, and then come in with a little bit of thread. And that's some green thread because I wanted to pick up a little bit more of the green that I have in the leaves. And then that really pretty floral arrow. And even though the tangled thread is messy and random, I still have to mess with it to make it look exactly like I want it. So there I go again, digging through the ephemera to find something else. And I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for a title. It almost doesn't need a title because of all the X and O's. And you can clearly tell this is, you know, a lovey-dovey layout. But I wanted something. So I pulled out the vellum letters that spell love, played around with those for a little bit. I decided I did not like it on the left. I did not like it on the right. I tried to tilt it like the photo and it just didn't look right. So took that away. I'm going to add in another flower. The thing is now I've got so many colors behind the X's and O's. If I add too much more patterns of something, like those letters are different patterns, it just gets lost and it looks too busy. And so I think now what I need to do is focus on some solids, like the leaves that I added behind the O and that orange flower up at the top of the other O, kind of are considered solids. And so it kind of contrasts with all the patterns in the letters, if that makes sense. I do come in with these though, and this is going to make my title. But I try to keep the word love with the same color. I didn't mix and match with all of those different colors. So I put I love us is going to be the title, and love is all one color and us is the floral. And so it kind of stands out, but it's still uniform. And I don't like the way I broke it up there, so I'm going to play around with it and change it around so it's just a straight I love us. And I feel like that's it, that everything's kind of those letters are kind of light enough to where they're not too busy and they're not distracting and taking away from anything else. They just kind of fill up that space a little bit. So I'm going to add in my journaling. Clearly it's time to get my hair done because it is extremely awful. Sorry you had to see that. Last thing I'm going to do is come in with some more of that pink shimmers and just give it a little bit extra splatters. And I'm going to add the date, and that's the final layout. I absolutely love how this turned out. I'm so excited to be on this team, and I'm so happy that you guys are here to watch. And please let me know if you have any questions about any of these products or these techniques. I really love backing the cut files. So fun, so pretty. So I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. So once again, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great weekend.